Hi, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for stopping in. I'm Arlene Schiffer, owner of MJ's Handmaids, co-owner of MJ's Blues and Dance Club, a virtual live blues venue located inside Second Life. Um, if you should join, it's really cool. It's really great. It's an entire environment built by the residents. No corporate greed there, but you should really check it out. It's something else. It's been around a heck of a lot longer than anybody else. So check it out. Today I'm going to show you how to make, well, you're going to follow along. I'm not going to show you, I'm not going to teach you. You're going to follow along because tutorials and whatnot are just guides. They're not rules or anything like that. But I want to show you how. I've had a lot of people asking for a tutorial. So if you don't mind following the bouncing ball, this is what I'm going to show you to do. This is 3 beads, approximately 3 to 4 millimeters in size. If you have only 2.5, that'll work too. Maybe you might need 4 or 5 of them, not sure. This is a 16 gauge reclaimed electrical wire that I stripped and cleaned, shaped, hammered, filed. The cabochon is approximately, I believe, a 40 to a 50 millimeter. I'm not sure, I know it's big. Probably a 40 millimeter labradorite cabochon. The frame is also a 16 gauge. This is 16 gauge. The wrapping wire, my weaving wire up here and all around, is a 28 gauge. I stayed uniform with my wrapping wire, and this is a 22 gauge base or frame wire with a 28 gauge weaving wire around it. On the back is another, I believe that's a 20 gauge, and this was a last minute decision. 20 gauge frame, and it's in there very well. It's not moving, and neither is that stone. Okay, so moving forward, again, this is a 16 gauge. They're all round. Everything I'm using is round. You can use half round, you can use square. It's really up to you, but I'm using round, which you'll want to use for the moon anyways. It makes better petals. This is a 20 millimeter. It's actually a drilled, I guess I call it top to bottom drill through and through, but it's off-centered, so I'm using it as a cabochon, which you can do with drilled beads. I don't care what anybody says. There's no rules or laws to this stuff. You just be creative. Again, 16 gauge, 22 gauge for the frame, bloop bloop, 28 gauge for the wrapping. If you want to use a 20 gauge with a 26 gauge, just adjust your sizes and the amount of weaves for each side. Keep it uniformed. You want to count it through, that's fine too. I measure, and then I just weave until I reach my point. If I have to add more, I add more before I wrap it all together. But the best thing is you can unwrap too. So you just need to not complete it, not tie it off, and not pinch it together before you have to make adjustments. I'm going to show you how to do the hooks. You need the file for that, and a hammer. Use my hammer along with a homemade handle, which is just a block for me to hammer on. A file. You need the file. There's not a lot of filing to do, but it needs to be done. You don't want to scratch anybody. And hint, this part of your arm is super sensitive, and so are your cheeks. If you want to test how sharp it might be, that will work out really well. You'll feel it. I'm going to show you how to do this back. You can also do a back like this if you wanted to, which, you know, they work out really good as well. You do need to anchor them because they will bend out or catch, so you'll need to anchor it on the bottom. Not a big deal, but that's not what we're going to be using. And this is a project I started last week. I have to finish. But I'll just show you how to do a quick anchor like that, maybe. So if you're about ready to have all the tools I showed you, you need your wire cutters. Little wire cutters. You can see I've been doing this a while. These used to be green. Now they're not really icky. And maybe, I'm not sure, this is just a good possibility you might use these tools. Definitely your wire cutters, and definitely something to tuck and squeeze your wires down to the frame and tuck. So you'll need, and even something to round the wire out a little bit, which I use a mandrel for that sometimes a lot. So give me a few minutes, and I'm going to clean up a little after the camera stops bouncing around, and we'll get started. First thing I'm going to show you is this. If you want to get started beforehand, this is, I put it around my put the wire around my mandrel, go down to about 10, and just bring the wire around, all the way around, so it's it shapes the curve completely. You don't want it coming straight out. You want it to go all the way around. Press it down, bring it out, and then just cut it. And give it a little file to shape to make them round. Hammer them down, file some more, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in a minute. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. And about 10. Make sure you're going to watch me. If you have to move it up the mandrel to make sure you've got it nice and round, because it flattens out with this bead protector thing, go ahead and bring it up instead, and then bring it down. Stretch it back out like, and get it pretty much round. And one of the things I should have mentioned when it comes to cutters is you kind of want a heavy duty one for these. I'm going to cut them. I'm going to just cut it there. Again, there's no measurement. This isn't a scientific project or anything. But right where the flat starts to curve is where I'm going to cut. But yeah, you want a heavy duty cutter for these, industrial or something you'll find in the garage of your husband's heavy duty toolbox. But yeah, these are for thicker metals. I also have sheet cutters that I use, but not for something like this. Alright, so it's pretty pointy. This file I have to go one way on, but you kind of want to go one way with your metals anyways. That way you're not creating more burrs. And don't force the file. Make sure you're guiding it and where you need it to go. A little bit of pressure to make sure it's staying on there, but you want the file to do the work. Otherwise you're just going to make a mess. And this isn't going to be a perfect file. This is really to smooth it out and round it a little bit. So when I do hammer, I'm going to be hammering. We can get a better round paddle and then reshape with the file, where you can keep it the natural look. It's really up to you. A lot of times I'll just keep it as a natural look because it's not too awkward and it's more natural looking to me. But that's also my opinion. Not everybody agrees. It's like I don't agree with everybody. It doesn't mean anything. You also might hear squeaking and creaking and stuff, and that's me moving a lamp around. I have a 10 times magnifying lamp because I'm, for the lack of better words, blind. Now a lot of people can't see, but I'm really feeling in the dark here. Not any worse than anybody else. That's pretty pointy. My cutters, I think, are dull, which is giving me a pinch mark on my metal. But it could be just they're big. Now, you're not going to be able to watch me hammer because I remove it from the table. And I actually do it in my lap because it makes a lot of noise. How I position it, and I'll show you this. Because I just straight, you can see it's not exactly, it lifts up a little bit. So not a problem. I don't want to hit my camera. Just want to get the edges. You hear that ting? That means I'm missing the copper. See how this paddle is getting a little pointy? I'm going to need to file some more. Not too bad. Boy, that thing is heavy. This one's a little too square, too flat for me. I want it a little rounder. You see, my kitty's been up here in my stuff. Oh, what a guy. Not the best. Look at these dots. Because I'm, while I was cleaning up, it had an aha moment. And measured something, and then to mark my measurements, I dotted the wire, but it got me too. It's not too bad. This is going to be a little difficult. Sorry, I'm talking into my mirror, my lamp. Well, this one's not going to be perfect, so I'm going to... I don't have an apron on today, so I'm not going to be doing much with the steel wool scrubbing. So it falls apart all over the place. I have cats, so I need to make darn sure, sorry, that I don't leave the steel wool fibers all over the floor and stuff. So a lot of times I'll wear an apron to catch some of it. Like this, I could use some steel wool too. But that's the moon, half moon, and it's going to be put onto this somewhere in the realm of that. So my next step is to put you aside. I didn't pull out any beads for this. So I didn't measure this, so, and I'll use more wire than I need because it is a big wire, and you need it. It's hard to make small curves with a large gauge wire. Even dead soft, it's kind of hard to make the smaller curves. So you want to add a little bit, but I'm just shaping. I think the cabochon is a little bit bigger than the mandrel, so I'm going to shape it around the cab. I don't recommend everybody doing this unless you know what you're doing and you don't mind holding it real hard, real tight with your fingers. But you don't want to squish a cabochon, and if like labradorites are pretty fractured, they break. So you want to be careful. So I'm gonna go a minute like this. So I don't want to go all the way around. I want to make kind of a teardrop type look, or a water balloon. And you don't want a perfect fit because you're going to be wrapping some wires in it. See, got 22 gauge and stuff going on, so you want a little bit of room between the cabochon and the frame, so you can wrap all of this stuff through. So we got a little room there. We got room for the moon. We got room for, got a lot of room. Room for wrapping. Yep. I want this a little bit more curved. That looks better. Good. Something like that. Maybe a little larger. Give it a definite water balloon look. That'll work out pretty nice. What do you think? I'm asking you. I think that'll work out good. Okay, I'm going to pause right here so I can get some beads and show you how I get the rest of this done. Okay, I paused and was off camera for about a half an hour. I was looking for beads that I could use for the new one, and because I do want to add this to my inventory, I want to make sure it's worthy. So what I'm going to do is add some. These are beautiful AAA sapphires, and I think they'll work really nice as an accent on top. I tried an aquamarine, and I'm not real thrilled with the color of it. And I tried tanzanite, of course. It's my favorite all-time stone, but that didn't work out either. The colors just clash. I'm not good with colors, but I know icky colors when I see them, and that would be icky. This with the copper separator won't be too bad. I think it'll look pretty nice, especially once finished. It'll work out really nice. But I want to use them for my accents at the top. But I'm also thinking I want to incorporate some smaller, the seed bead size, into the accent down here as well. But that might be overkill with the blue. Well, but I'll see. We'll see. All right, back into pause. Right back. So before I attach any stones or anything like that, I want to get my hammering done, so the vibration doesn't hurt the stone, or I slip and hit the stone perhaps, which it can happen. Now this is way too long to make this. We don't need that much. Maybe an inch should really do. These are a little uneven, but an inch should do, and it will help me make this a little bit bigger. This will do a good 3mm cord, but it might be a tight fit because it's not perfectly round. It's kind of oval. So I'm going to go with about an inch, but right where it goes straight, not any part of the curve, right where it goes straight. If you want to use your ruler, you can eyeball it. About an inch. That's close. Where's my heavy duties? And that's probably bigger than an inch right there. Actually, it looks like I could use more than that anyways. That'll do. That'll look maybe inch and a half, inch and a quarter. Maybe about that much. Don't cut your wires so that when you cut it, it's got there's a little force to it. You can shoot that sucker off into no man's land if you're not careful. These would be great to hammer out the ends, to make like a twisted looking chain link, or they're actually big enough to make different types of hooks if you wanted to. But don't throw your scraps out. A good majority of my work is scraps. This actually was made from scrap pieces. They were already pre-cut and just waiting, hanging around with nothing to do. Like the frame, for instance, I made that a while ago. And as you can see, it's a bit beat up. This here was another piece that was too big for something that I was making. This was actually a part of a different weave, and it was too big, so I cut it off. And ta-da! Look at it's being used on this. So don't throw away your stuff. You just might end up using it. You never know. A lot of my stuff is scraps. A lot of earrings, scrap wire, because you don't need a lot of wire to make them. But don't throw it away. Have a box or something put aside for different types of scraps and coiling. That stuff drives me crazy. Sometimes you can coil and it's too big, so you got this little snip, and you put so much work into making that coil. You don't want to just toss it aside and try to recycle it. Put it in your pre-coiled box. You can slide it onto the wire and incorporate into a ring, or you know, a small accent of some sort. You just, there's always a use, always something. Not too small, for especially the size wire this is. That's just too small. There's nothing I can do with that. So if I wanted to save a lot of copper and then send it off to the plant, or maybe even just, you know, melt it down, turn it into sheets myself, I could use some sheets. Oops, my light really messed up. It's old. I think it was born in the 80s. So that it's gobbling up the energy right now. The least time with it, the better I am. Not the 80s, more like the 90s. Again, when you file, go in one direction. It's better for your metal. Some files you got the cross design. You can go both ways. Even with those, I'll go one direction. Even though I turned it around and I'm still going in that same direction, I get much better results. And when I hammer this, it's just the tips. And I'll start to form, well no, I need it to lay flat down, but I'm going to hammer this, get the tips going. Nice and even. Could use a little more filing, but it's going to need it for the after I hammer anyways. So I've already showed you how to hammer stuff, so I'm going to pause. Okay, and I'm done with that. Look pretty good. And I'm not going to do any bending or anything like that until the stones and stuff are attached. Now, I'm looking, you can see hammer marks on one side of your wires, and then it's a little smoother on the other side. I want that to be my front, and so what we do is, to make the hooks, these here are going to get bent. So because I'm going to bend them this way, so when I roll them over, this here will be facing the front. So this here is my front part, and this is my back. I'm going to put the cab in. That definitely needs to get hidden. You don't want the likes of that popping up. But it will with the wrap going on. Let's get some wire going on. I'm going to first put the frame, the back on. And I don't have enough 20 gauge to do that with. So I'm going to actually use a 22 gauge. This is overkill. In fact, I'm going to put it away, use my little one. Little. There. Now I want this wire to be in the back. So when I wrap, I don't want to wrap like, I don't want to start the wire in the front part. I want to start it on the back side. So it wraps through and ends on the back. And you'll see what I'm talking about. And that's just a couple of wraps, like so. I'm going to put this in because we want the stone to sit in the frame. So it's going to be a little bulged. I also want this to be the bottom. I'm kind of thinking I want to cross like so instead. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cross up. And I'm making sure my turns are nice and snug to the frame without putting the pressure on this part itself, because I still want it to have that little bit of bulge for the stone to set into it and not away from it. That's cool. But whoa, Nelly, come back to life, honey. Woofa. Yeah, this is kind of ridiculous. Don't do this at home. Make sure you're cutting just the one wire when you snip. It's not going to look too bad. Okay. I'm going to kind of cut it so it's almost inside. It'll be covered. You won't be able to see it, but I don't want you to feel it either. You don't want to take the chance, you know? It comes down to just safety first for all who's concerned. Boy, do I need new cutters. They can't even cut copper wire anymore. My poor babies. They're forever old. Their days are numbered. Yep. That's in there good. It's not going to touch anything. Alright, that's in pretty good shape. Ta-da! Not like the one I had on the other one, but no two come out alike, right? Isn't that the name of the game, sort of? Not a rule, but part of a, like I've been saying, there are no rules to wire wrapping. None. Yep. Yep, that'll sit nice. Okay, I could use this and cheat and attach it to the frame. I could, but I'm not going to go there. Next, let's put on our beads, and with our beads, pardon me, come on, we'll attach the moon that we made. Let's see how that's going to fit before we go too far. Where are we putting the moon? Now we want it to line up with the wire for easier wrapping and attaching. So, boy, that's a little winky looking, isn't it? Not straight. Let's hold you in just to get you in there. I think I need to fix that. Or do I have another one made? I'm not gonna go searching. Maybe. Perhaps I am searching. Those are hearts. It's a bit small. This hammered? It's not hammered, but it's ready to be. Might like that one better. Anyways, I'm going to use this one. This aside. It's not, I have to fix that. I wonder if I can. Oh, sorry. Sorry again. Boy, I'm bad at doing. Okay, that's getting bad. Okie dokie. I do like the size of this one. It's gonna be nice. Kind of down there on the stone, but alrighty. Now let's put our beads in them. I will not be working off the spool. I'm going to take off enough wire to be able to do the beads, this, and wrap from one wire. I'm going to say, I'm going to shoot for 3 feet. It's overkill. Guaranteed it's too much. But it seems to be a magic number at the same time. Which reminds me, I think dinner is ready. Speaking of magic numbers. Put this together. Pause for a moment. Okay, the next step is to start attaching the beads and to using the same wire we're going to attach the moon. Cut about 3 feet. Remember? We just did that. I'm going to wrap starting at the top. I'm going to wrap a couple of times around in here to anchor it down. I'm going to put a bead on. I might do 2, and then bring it down, wrap some more, and then bring the other beads in, wrap them up. And if I can get the wire through again, I'm going to bring it back through because I want wire on each side so I can weave. So I'm taking got about 3 feet here, took it, going to find a center point. You just bring your ends together to find a center point. Whoopsie daisy, don't want that happening. Get it on. Make a couple of wraps. It's up to you. I like to do 3 at the minimal. 3. And have it so your wrap is coming around the front so your beads don't want to tuck behind your wire. So you want it to come up over the front of your frame. Add the little beads. First I'm going to see if it'll take 2 wires. I'm not real sure. No. So I'm going to have to make sure my wire ends up on the opposite side. So that's 1. Sure it's on the right one. Spaz time. Alright, so that's 1 and 2. And put 2 up top here, I think. Now, before I go too far and start anchoring that, I need to make sure things are going to line up. Alright, so I'm going to bring these up a little bit higher. And if I'm muffled, it's because I'm talking into a lamp. brought this one back through for no apparent reason, but to keep the wraps uniformed from side to side. There's 4 here, and now there's 4 there. I'm going to... I want the wire to be in the front. So, and onto... I need the wire to come over the top for me to place the beads. But I also need a wire to be... I need it to come over the front of the wire, and then I also need wire on this side so I can continue the pattern on each side down. So what I'm going to do is take this wire and bring it all the way around like so. I'm going to add my beads. I'm going to put probably 3 on this side. Try to keep them uniform in size. These are so tiny, but so pretty. I have a lot of these. Let's just leave it at that. Lots and lots of sapphire. I'm going to try 3 first. I think that'll look, that's fine. 3's good. If I put another one in there, it'll be too tight. So, bring this through. Nice and tight. I'm going to do 3 at first. I'm going to bring you, hold on. I'm going to change camera angle. This might be a little bit better. There goes my lap. Okay, I think that's going to look pretty good. Except I do have that overlap, and that's going to bother me. Alright, now I'll attach our moon. And now I don't have the stone in there right now, which I should probably put in. I want to just start to attach it with the stone in it. No, not like that. Yep, like that. Crud. One moment, please. I forgot to unpause, so I didn't get far without you. I'm attaching the moon to the frame. And first the first thing I'll do it on this side to show you again. I take my loose wire and I wrap it around, but I'm going to wrap it around only the moon 3 times. And I'm going to position it and make sure it's in where it needs to go. And that's why I'm only doing the moon, so I can move it and I'll have the room to be able to slide the stone in and hold it. So now I can fasten it where I need it to fasten. I think what I'm going to do from here, instead of wrapping, I'm going to do the crisscross from here. It's going to be difficult because you're going in and out of these wires like this. Sorry. I'll do that. My camera is horrible and it's really close to me. I'm doing this a little differently. It probably looks really bad to you the way that I'm doing it. It's because of where I'm positioned versus the camera in my magnifying lamp. I can't do this without the magnifying lamp. But I have to have it in a position to where I'm going to constantly bump the camera and be off camera. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to crisscross, which is over, under, over, under. Like so. I'm going to do this about probably 10 times. This is going to be number 2. I'm starting to get a cramp in my finger. Patience. This does take a little patience to do because of how it's put together. So if you're not exactly, if it's just one of those days for you where you're not going to have the patience, please don't attempt this. And that's only 4 rotations so far, 4 weaves. So instead of wasting your time, I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to pause until I get to the other side. And once I get to the other side, I'll go back on the camera. Alrighty, I'm back. I got this side done. And what we're going to do now is jump over to the other side, and I'll show you how I do that. Keep the stone in. Don't have to at this point, but you can keep it in there and it will help guide your size. Come on now. Okay, the first thing we want to do is we're going to do 10 rotations. So I'm going to start by going under the back side. I'm going to get the end. I want to go under the back side. I'm going to start that way. Yeah, I do. Under the back side. You can go, if it's going to be a bugger, but you can do this, and that'll help a few times. And then over the top, under, and this goes back through. Now when you go back through, make sure you're above that wire. And that's weave 1. It's an over under and I missed completely. So I'm going to do it this way instead. I'm going to go over the back. Boink. Hold that baby. Again, without my magnifying lamp, I'm not sure if I'm doing the right directions but boy, that was a learning experience. Okay, so we got one. And let's keep going. Over the top. This will be 2. Sorry, I'll wait. In between the wires. In between. Come on, you can do it. And you just keep doing this till you've done your 10 rotations. I kind of don't remember it being this difficult, but it isn't difficult. I'm in a awkward position, so I'm not comfortable right now, and so it's all awkward. And I have too many blind spots. Holy smoke! How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not keeping count again. 1, 7. You do a count to keep things uniform. That's 8. If it's a different type, other than you want to be uniformed on each side, I'll measure it. Like for instance, when we go down here, it'll probably be about 3 to 4 inches of the accent weave that we're going to be doing down at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. I thought that was 10. My air conditioner just turned on. My light freaked out. Could be. I'm just going to squish these together. Not going to do much. Straighten that out. Hey, babies, look, it's your new home. That's kind of cool so far, huh? Not bad. Let's get that accent going on here. This is what we've got so far. Whoops. It'll stay in there once we get that last piece on. But we're almost there. That's the way I'm gonna have it. Coming along. I need a quick break. I want to get some coffee. Oh, it's 7 o'clock here. Maybe no coffee. It's Friday. I'm doing a coffee. I'll be right back. Okay, I wanted to pause for a few minutes. And I had what I had done is made an adjustment. I had taken my wrap, my over under the crisscross, and I brought it all the way down to the first where the backing is attached. I brought it down to there. It was a little flimsy, so more of this will keep it in place. And I'm a little more confident now that it's actually gonna snug the stone and it won't come forward. And once we get the other wrap on there, you make some adjustments, even everything out better, and you'll see. We're almost done, sort of. Sort of, almost. So I'm going to finish this side. I haven't finished weaving all the way down on this side. It's the same over, under, and keep them as tight together as possible until you get down to this particular wrap. And then you can end it by just wrapping 3 times around the frame and then snip the weaving wire. And once you do, you want to make it so that you can tuck it on in. You'll see what I'm talking about in a sec. I would love to have some background music going on right now. I have permission and the rights to play music through my venue, but I'm not too sure if I can air it here in YouTube. It's a collision of popular blues artists and some independent artists that we have that frequent our venue for certain occasions. Real good artists too. Why they don't have their own labels? Just living their lives, enjoying the music. Thank goodness, because I get to enjoy it with them. and they love to share. You know, that's one of the things about us artists. Doesn't matter your form of art. There's something really awesome when you share it with others and they love it. That's so special. And it was one of the things we really enjoyed watching was the audience and the fans cheering these musicians on. And the support. Ooh, never seen such support for independent artists as I do inside Second Life. Incredible, incredible atmosphere with these music venues. Music is pretty much what holds Second Life together. I don't care what anybody wants to say. After 16, 17 years running my venue in there and associating with some of the best people on earth, and they know who they are. No, I'm not dropping names. My venue, we've had, oh boy, if I could just drop names, I'd tell you who we've had in our venue. Okay, that's about as far as that's gonna go. I want to be able to anchor it. You've gone too far. One more time. Took the rock out so I could cut on the inside so that when I tighten it down to the frame, it's not going to poke through the back nor the front. So yeah, that's a little too far. Just need to take off a hair. Let's see. That's perfect. It's not going up. Want to get that other wrap in there. That's the wrong side. I need a little dimple there. So far, And that's what we have so far. Ta-da. Okay, go to this side. Next, this is already pretty sturdy. I didn't measure this. I'm going to go with about 3 inches. Excuse me. I'm going to try. I want at least 4 or 5 inches. And use 22 gauge. Not measuring and not having to write math or anything out. I'm going to waste wire when you're not living in a world we want to be wasteful. For the sake of the tutorial, I'll take on the burden this time. Again, I want to wrap with my 28 gauge. I'm going to remove from the spool because I'm not sure how many beads it's going to take. Normally, I would work right from the spool. I would know how many beads I was going to take, and I would actually thread my wire, and then I would start working right from the spool. And as I need a bead, I slide it down. And someday I can show you how to do that. But I'm not going to. I'm going to need another maybe 3, because it's so small. Alright, wasteful. Whoops, I should have held that. We'll take care of that later. I'm going to be putting some beads on it. First thing I want to do, and the wrap I'm going to do, I'm not sure what kind of wrap I want to do with this. Maybe the little step ladder. When I wrap my wire, I always start from the back. Use that Sharpie mark. I start from the back. Put your wire in the back. And I always give minimum of 3 wraps. And a bounce. Being 22 gauge dead soft, I want to be as gentle as possible. I want to anchor my other wire on before I start to bead it. And I need a little room to be able to wrap it around the frame. So you need to leave some room. But this is also going to be moved all the way down. What do we want to do? Maybe a 2-2? Maybe step ladder? Maybe... Oh, darn. I should have planned that part out. I think, I don't want to do a crisscross. Let's do 2-2. 2-2. 2 wires, 2 frame wires. Wrap 2 times around both frame wires. And then 2 times around a separate wire. It could be your top or your bottom. Choice is yours at that point. 2 reps. And run both string wires, and then 1 sticking with the same wire. This isn't working out very well. If you work with the same, stick with the same pattern all along, uniformity. I'm going to slide these down before they get too tight. I'm going to leave some room so I can wrap it around the frame too. Might be a little too tight for beads. So maybe I should start adding them. Yep, I can't see that. I don't even know if it's in. It's like taking an allergy pill. Where the heck is it? Yeah. So I gotta make this a little wider. I wonder if this will fit onto my 22 gauge. No. Crying out loud. I don't think that's gonna work out. Need it wider. This is really annoying. Okay, I'm going to figure out a pattern here, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I totally forgot to turn the camera back on, and I completed weaving the 22 gauge with a 28 gauge wrapping wire, but I left it beadless. And then I already wrapped it around the frame, which is easy to do. All you're going to do when you want to do that is take the two wires. These are two different sizes. You take it and you put it in and you bring it up. One's going to be in front, one's going to come in from the back, kind of like this. Give it a good squeeze at the bottom, like so. Get your rock in place. I also had to turn the rock around because the drilled part, it's too high up, so it wasn't going to work out too well. And then on this side, it's got this little, it's underneath the paddle, but it's got a little nick on it, and that's why I wanted it for the back, but that's okay. So bring these up. As you can see, one's in the front, one's in the back, and shape it however you want, nice and curvy, but I want to be able to get, up to these, and that's it. And this is about 16 rotations, 16 to 20 rotations. Here's the thing, I didn't measure and I didn't count, but if you need more, you can wrap more. You can always start with a complete end. Now this here, because it's not in very good shape, I can unwrap it, and that's fine because I got plenty of the rest. But nice and firm against this stone. You want it to go like that. Now what I want to do is tuck it in and then wrap forward. That's what I want to do with this. Do I? No, I'm going to go on the outside. Okay. Okay, I'm going outside. It would be cool going on the inside and wrapping out. So again though, see how that, it's now bare wire, no weave. When I want to wrap it around, that's how you want it, and it'll stay a little better. These ended up a little bigger than I wanted, and that's okay too. The plan is always changes to the plan was, correct? That's why we say plan B. It's a better plan. And the wire's been worked with so much. And there's too much of it. It's driving me crazy. I'm gonna knock some of this out. Swell. I don't know what that was. I'll find it later, that's for sure. Sorry, I'm just gonna add this last week on here. Get this secure. Well, that will do too. Make sure that I write equal in size in the center. Trying to keep it even. I have a fly that is absolutely go crazy looking for a place to land. And once it does, it's gone. So I'm unwrapping because you can. But I don't want the whole wrap to go around the frame. And I could have counted, been a little more uniformed with all of this, but I wasn't. I'm gonna stop in there. Okay, let's get this where it belongs. This guy where it belongs. And see what we're doing. So it looks like it needs to stretch. But then it looks wrap back on. I think it's about done. I'm going to start clipping. Hope you were able to follow along. Like I said, this is not a tutorial. It's how I do it. And if you couldn't see, I apologize. My camera setup is pretty bad. I'm all squished in here. And doing what I can currently. Situation will be changing, unfortunately, sooner than we wanted, but oh well. That one hit the floor. I am trying to downsize another something I knew was going to happen in the future, just didn't foresee it to happen. Out of my control this time again, but that's okay. Go back and fix that on that. Click this. That's great. I'm scared. Plastic. Oh, I have to take me to the vet again. So I'm not the best person to be making videos. My setup is pretty bad right now. Once we do finally have our own place to spread out, I will have a much better setup and be able to show you much better quality videos. I do thank you for putting up with me. I really do appreciate it. You don't know how much I appreciate that. Try and tuck these babies in. Because I think this is done. And like I said, I hope you're able to catch some of it and be able to do your own. There's so much going on right now. If I get to it, I can do a proper tutorial with this design. But and I know I'm not on camera a lot, or at least the angle and the view is pretty bad. And my camera is probably some freebie camera from somewhere. I'm not sure. But there we have it. Oh, no, we do not, do we? Da, 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 da. Let's get the veil. Pink. Whoops, again. Sorry. We've hammered, we filed, we're ready to roll. I want smaller. Boom, boom, boom. Gonna bring right at the tip. Gonna at the tip. No big deal. And what I'm gonna do is bring it back. Because I'm gonna roll this forward. I want that flat part against the front. So again, the tip, back. If you don't have a pair of veil makers or jump ring makers, I don't know what you would call them, but I call them veil makers because they're a tiered pair of pliers. This isn't even, so I'm gonna try and fix that. Don't you go out on me, Madeline. I want, it's a good size. I want this particular size. It's the third size up. 1, 2, 3. My lamp's gonna drive me crazy. Hold on. This is gonna be a big flash. Close your eyes. I'll tell you when to open them. Open. Okay. Now, because I want to bend over this one, I want the hook part to be on the back. And I'm going to roll this over as straight as I can. And it's a bit much. I'm going to bend it back at the beads. No, this one is a smaller one. I don't want to scratch the sapphire, so I went that route. I'm going to make it smaller. And it's going to have to do just like that. Straighten out, do a lot of straightening out. Yeah, that's for sure. Did you see that? Damn fly. Alrighty. I'm probably going to add a few beads. What do you think? I think I should. In the meantime, that's the beads. Let's see what it'll look like with a few beads. Anything smaller? Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Oops. I should have probably done this as a two-parter. I'm surprised if YouTube lets me upload it the way it is. Oh, look, and there's the hole. Okay. This piece is done. And that shall be it. What do you think of that? Too much? Not enough? Got it going? Beautiful sapphire and gray agate. Yours, if the price is right. No, I can't use that, so don't let that go through. I'm showing how to edit my videos. But yeah, there we are. I hope you enjoyed this. If you stuck by me long enough, how long is this? A 2-hour video? Holy cow, everybody. Thank you so much if you did stick with it. This stone, not going anywhere. It's in there. See that? And I don't have it. As you can see, there is no wire going through there. So, and it's in. It's not going to go anywhere. And it's pretty. I did a nice, I like it the way it is. I really do. So if you want to follow me on Facebook, join the group MJ's Handmaids, or for Facebook following personally, it's Arlene Schiffer. You can subscribe. The button, hit the bell so you can get notified when that next time I upload. I have a few things I need to find. I have a sapphire I need to go look for. So thanks for following. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm Arlene Schiffer. Bye.